Hello and welcome to Overtime, an XFL podcast. The probably dumbest name XFL podcast you're ever going to find because Overtime, it's weird in XFL and we're probably not going to see much of it. Though we almost did this week. We very almost did. This is the first official week of XFL. We've seen the first 4 games and we're here to talk about them. We're here to talk about results, news, what we think of it so far. I am your host, the immaculate one, the international Kieran Brennan. You were listening to a Holy Wrestling podcast, which for those who do not know, that's my side podcast. Not my side podcast, this is a side podcast. That's my main podcast, my wrestling-based one, that you can find on this channel. We're not uploading the current episodes. He's forgotten to. He's supposed to put these on Spotify as well, but he's trying his best. But we're on Spotify. You'll be able to find links somewhere, or there's links to our socials and some of the videos. You can, and on the socials, there's links to the Spotify. You'll find it somewhere. Give that a listen if you want. For those who don't know, for those who are unaware, because I feel, if we're more likely to get jumpers here than any other week, because it's our first week. I'm Kieran, and I have never watched American football before. I don't really follow too many sports. I had a brief stint on rugby a while ago, but I never got super into it. I never followed any American sports. I've been to 2 baseball games in my life, and that's about it. And XFL really is my first entry. The first time I've ever really gone into liking a sport. Well, not even liking it, trying to like it, because I didn't fucking know if I'd like it or not. We'll find out this week if I did or not. My initial reactions and all those thoughts. But it's the first time I've ever tried to get into a sport. This is a learning experience for me, really. Which, I don't know how interesting it's going to be to listen to. If you're big into American football, if you're a big XFL fan, this might not be the podcast you're looking for. We're keeping it laid back. We're keeping it fun here, It's just me. I get to ramble on my own in my room with all the lights off, and I'm sitting on my bed, and I'm holding a microphone, so I get to, move my head around and shit like that. I wonder if there's a change. I flipped over the microphone. Has that affected the audio at all? I flipped it back. Is it back to normal now? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. Do I like it? Do I dislike it? Is football fun? Am I going to commit to doing this for the next 12 weeks? Well, it's 11 now, isn't it? Because we're done week 1, baby. Who knows? Let's find out together. Anything you guys want to talk about? Any weird admin stuff the podcast do up top? Sam Raimi rumored to direct Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness. I'm up for that. I'll give it a go. Tobey Maguire will probably be back. Fuck it. I don't care. Maybe, I think there's a new Sony movie, Sony Spider-Man movie coming out, in a couple of years. Maybe they'll do, Doctor Strange, and then Spider-Man's in it, and then they do Spider-Man 4 a couple of years after. Maybe they'll do that. If they do, I don't care. I do care. That's a lie. I'd very much like to see that. I don't know. XFL, WWE, Vince McMahon. We're here. We're kicking. We're alive. 1 week in. What am I? Who am I? Who is Kieran Brennan? What does he like? What does he dislike? I'll tell you what I do like. I like XFL and I like the Dallas Renegades. I'll tell you that much for nothing, buddy. I'm not on coke. I swear. I fucking swear. I quite enjoy XFL. I've only got the time to watch 1 game because it's a very busy period of time for me with school. It's a big year in school. Doing other podcasts, trying to watch movies and shit, because I saw Birds of Prey. It's just alright. I didn't really like it. Maybe you will. Give it a go. I think I'm in the minority here. I liked Harley Quinn a lot. Ewan McGregor's Black Mass was very good. He's great. If you've seen the trailers. He's funny. He's good. But I think it underutilizes a lot of the other Birds of Prey and probably should have been marketed as a Harley Quinn film rather than a Birds of Prey film. Which, off topic. That's an off-topic question. No off-topic questions. I'm shutting you down. Wait. XFL. I like it. I really do. I got time to watch the Dallas Renegades St. Louis Battlehawks game. Because Renegades are my boys. I'm following them this season. Let's see if I change my mind by the end. Everything else I kind of missed, but I was able to find out results, winners, if a team played particularly well or not, basic recap stuff. This isn't going to be super in-depth. I'd be surprised if this goes longer than 20 minutes. Maybe it won't even reach 20. Who knows? Just got to keep it loose. Keep it limber, loose, rubber goose, Maybe that's why I'm rambling because I don't have much to talk about. Last week, if you want to listen to it, it was our preseason introduction episode. Going through all the different gears, helmets and shit. Which is aesthetically nice. Which give it a listen. It's our episode 0, I suppose, in a way. So yeah, XFL launched. It launched to a decent number of viewers, I believe. 3 million on their first game, averaging. Maybe hit it 4. Most did okay. Most games did fairly well. Ticket sales were strong. They all hit about 17,000, which that's pretty impressive. For a brand new league, its ticket sales have, before the game even started, before the first XFL game even started, outsold the entirety of the AAF, the football, the NFL spin-off that launched last year, that only lasted a season. I don't know if it even finished the season, actually. But that did unfortunately fail. The XFL seems to be much more popular than that. The XFL, it's garnered a lot of good buzz, I believe. I haven't really seen too many negatives about it. I do have my problems with it. We'll get to that soon, although I very much enjoyed the product that I watched. Yeah, it's I hope it can keep up the momentum. I'd like to see a second season of it. I'm curious to see what happens. We have 11 more weeks of games, which should be good. I'll probably watch at least 2 this weekend because I should have the time if I'm able. Though I did say that last weekend when I wasn't able to. No, we'll fucking wait and see as well. Yeah, Pat McAfee. He was on the sidelines for a couple of games. He's good. He's a WWE person. Very little mention of WWE. There was very, very little. They really are distancing themselves. It really is a separate venture. And Vince has very much stressed that, it seems. Vince McMahon, owner of both the WWE and the XFL, he stressed that. This iteration of the XFL seems much, much different from the previous one. I'm to the point where I'm curious why they would call it the XFL. Why would you associate it with something people aren't exactly fond of, It's just a bit odd to me. I suppose maybe they're thinking it's an already established name. Maybe they get some people in through the gate. But this is much less wackier. It's much less gimmicky. It's much more, for the love of football. Hashtag for the love of football. Yeah, I don't understand the full list of changes from regular NFL because I don't watch NFL, so it's kind of hard for me to see that. But I'm not sure. There's an XFL app that just launched as well, by the way. I believe only in America right now, which is unfortunate because I'm in Ireland. So apparently it's quite good. If you live in Ireland or if you have an Android, I don't know if it's on Android yet in America, there is a XFL News Hub app that's independently run. It's quite good. It works quite well. It has a schedule news on each individual team. It's good enough. I believe the owner does an XFL podcast, which, maybe give that a listen. I'd say he's probably decent. Maybe he's not. Nah, he is. I'll listen to it. I listened to one of the episodes last week. It was quite good. I suppose let's just jump into it. Our first ever game, I think, was the DC Defenders versus the Seattle Dragons. This was quite good. I watched a couple of highlights from it. DC Defenders 31, Seattle Dragons 19. Defenders picking up a big, big win. It's always nice to start off on a winning victory, and they did this year. I say this year for the first time ever. Their defense, though very strong. From what I've seen and what I've heard, which obviously it's going to be, isn't it? They got 3 touchdowns, which the Seattle Dragons got 3 touchdowns by their quarterback Brandon Silvers, which it would have been nice to not see that, I suppose, from their perspective. I don't know how I wanted to win here. I suppose I want Defenders to lose the next couple of games because they seem fairly good, and I would rather Dallas Renegades not play good teams. That would be very comfortable for me. It's not a shock victory. Defenders definitely were the odds-on favorite to win this one. Although I think the Seattle Dragons probably did do a bit better than anticipated. I wonder, is this a high-scoring game? Would it be considered a high-scoring game? I'm not sure. The second game, the Houston Roughnecks and the LA Wildcats, where LA Wildcats got 17 and Houston Roughnecks got 37, would that be considered a high-scoring game? I'm not sure. It's definitely a higher-scoring game. I know that for sure. This it was more of a butchering, to be honest. The LA Wildcats, did not perform particularly amazingly, to the point where I believe Pepper Johnson, the defensive coordinator for the LA Wildcats, he's let go. He's gone. Um, the head coach Winston Moss, he essentially fired him. No replacement has yet been named. Moss said, and I quote, "We recognize that there are issues we need to address for the 2020 season. While these decisions are difficult, we have given this significant thought. We are here to put the best possible product on the field for our fans. We thank Pepper for his contributions to the Wildcats, and we are looking forward to our home opener this season. This weekend, because they have a home game this week, which I'm curious to see. We'll be talking about future games very soon. Yeah, it seemed like it's definitely a much more interesting game. PJ Walker, he scored 4 fucking touchdowns, which is pretty insane, getting 272 yards. For those who don't know how American football works, and I didn't, and it's surprisingly simple. It seems like there's more to it than this, of course. There's a lot more to it than this, like what I'm about to say. But the basic idea is throw the ball back to your guy, try and get it as far upfield as you can. And the second that ball, either the ball or the person gets knocked onto the ground, that's it, and you got to stop. And you got to start again, and you got to start the whole cycle again. It's like it's almost like a territory battle more than anything, which I find interesting, and it is fun to watch. XFL from the bits I have seen of XFL is much, much more fast paced, and something I really did enjoy was the amount of transparency and speed everything seemed to go through. Like, we get the VAR, you'd go to VAR, we could see them looking at it, hear exactly what they're saying as they go step by step through, goes to the ref, and we hear exactly what the ref says. Which I think that's a fantastic addition. It seemed to work very well. It was fast enough in the game I watched. Everything seemed to go well. There's also coaches, I don't know if this is in the NFL, coaches have these headsets that, they have earphones in, like, the helmets of their players, and the coaches can talk to them. I believe the St. Louis Battlehawks, their coach's headset stopped working in about the last 10 minutes or so of the game, which was unfortunate. But unlike the NFL, I believe I heard that in commentary. Unlike the NFL, the Dallas Renegades did not have to stop using their headsets, which that's an interesting idea. I'm curious as to why they chose to do that. What's the reasoning? Maybe they felt like some coaches could use that to their advantage. I don't know. I really don't. It's an interesting point. But just I enjoyed how fast the game was, much faster than I thought it would be. My co-host of the Hot Wrestling Podcast, Reen Nocter, and St. Louis Battlehawks supporter, he told me that there was about 11 minutes of playtime in NFL, which I now know is not true. Or at least in XFL, it's significantly more than 11, considering how we had 4 quarters. All of which I thought were exciting and fast paced, and they just worked very well, better than I really ever thought they would, which is pretty cool. The Wildcats. Am I looking at the right game? Yeah, I am. Yeah, the Wildcats' defense. They didn't really have any answer for PJ Walker. They kind of defended the run game well, but June Jones is known for his passing offense. And that's a quote from the XFL News Hub app in the recap of the game. It's just so fast. It's not much I can really add on there. I unfortunately wasn't able to watch much of that game. But hey, what are you gonna do? Good about it. Anthony Johnson was also released by the LA Wildcats later in the week. He was a bit of a surprise. He was the team captain. That's not a good look, He kind of was the face of the marketing for an extent, or at least from what I saw. It genuinely is only in the last 2 weeks I decided I was going to be a part of an XFL fan. So give me a break, pal, if I'm getting some of this stuff wrong. All right, next up going to our second day We have the New York Guardians beating at 23, beating the Tampa Bay Vipers, who got 3. This is the biggest trashing of the week. This was rough. This was rough for the Vipers. They really ballsed up here. It seemed like an even enough game, I thought. It just so happened that every time it really came down to it, the New York Guardians would just push it. They would just tip it in their favor, you know. They took the ball first and just kind of ran with it, essentially. It wasn't an upset win. I think the Guardians were tapped to be one of the bigger teams alongside Houston. Alongside the DC Defenders and the Dallas Renegades. They were the 3 teams that I saw most prominently featured as like, hey, watch out for these guns, you know. It was a solid game, I thought. Quite a few touchdowns. And now we have final game of the week. We're already there. It's almost that time of the week again. You know, we have the one that I watched the entire way through. The Dallas Renegades, my team, losing 9-15. Dallas Renegades only got 9, and the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Dr. Nocters team, got 15 and fucked us over in a big upset victory, a massive upset victory, in the final game of week 1 of the XFL. This was quite the shock. I don't think anyone really expected this at all, especially with this. I believe Bob Stoops, the coach, he's been gone for a while in football, and this was his big return. Our big star quarterback, he was absent for this game. Hang on, what's his name? I'm not... Laundry Jones, yeah, he unfortunately wasn't there, I believe. I don't think he was playing. And, you know, the fill-in quarterback kind of, you know, he did his job. He did okay with what he could do, but there definitely was a couple opportunities he had where he just kind of balls it up, and it's unfortunate to see. It's never nice losing. I was not anticipating losing the first game of the XFL. Very sad. It was bad scenes here in Ireland. I'll tell you that much, man. I was crying. I was texting Reen crying as it was going on. I don't know. Disappointing performance for the Renegades. It's not even that they did that bad. It's just, you know, when it counted, we fucked it, which is very unfortunate. I really hope we can come back next week. We didn't have like our start like. I don't know, man. There was very little run game. It was a very even game, and I really did like that until like the last quarter, I believe. It was definitely a very, very even game. It was something that was I think exciting to watch. I definitely popped a couple times fairly massively whenever like it would come close, like the Dallas Renegades. They either made like a good few yards at once or whatever, or it seemed like they were about to get a touchdown. I don't believe they got any touchdowns from memory. Excuse me? Oh, that's what happens when I do a podcast on my own. I don't believe they got any touchdowns from memory. I believe it was much more their conversions. I cannot remember what they're called. Are they conversions? I don't know, field goals? Field kicks? I'm not sure. And I don't know. Disappointing performance, I thought. Very disappointing. It's not the end of the world, of course. We have another game next week, but it's a bit like, oh well. Okay, that about does it for a week in review as far as games goes. I hopefully will get better at going through the games as the season goes on, because right now, obviously, I don't really know what to critique, because I don't really know what's good play, poor play. I've only seen one game of American football ever, and it was that one. And I had a good time, so I'll definitely be watching next week. It seems the XFL exceeded expectations for a lot of people. For a lot of people, like, a lot of NFL fans just kind of ignored the XFL as if it was nothing, and it seems to have grabbed the attention of a lot of people. I really hope it can keep the momentum. I think it's a big victory for the XFL to like get that audience, to get immediately getting a bigger audience. It seems in the AAF doesn't sound right, but I think it is. And I really hope this can garner get a lot of interest before the novelty wears off and people like join away. I suppose next week's ratings are really going to be a big, telling is this going to work or not. One thing I didn't particularly like is just how much the NFL was brought up in regards to this guy's going to move on straight to the NFL or stuff like, and this is a rule that will definitely be adopted by the NFL. If you're familiar with wrestling, you'll know the term burying someone. And burying someone in this case, it seemed like they buried themselves because it just means like making something else look good and something else and someone look bad. It seemed like the XFL were kind of burying themselves. They're making themselves look like a second-rate spin-off to the NFL, when in reality, I believe they should really be trying to be their own thing and stand on their own, not constant references to the NFL. And I understand that anyone watching XFL knows what the NFL is, but it's still like, you don't need to mention it the whole time. There's no need. Be proud of what you are on your own. Don't boast about like how the NFL is going to steal all your ideas. It's a bit odd because when they do, why would I bother watching the XFL? It's that type of thing. Presentation was very good. I enjoyed the presentation of the entire affair. Still of the vast majority of the would you call it deer? The kits. The vast majority of the kits, they were all very nice. Stadium setup was nice. Hopefully they fill up as the season goes on. That'll be nice. Or next year, maybe. Hopefully, I believe there's 3 years confirmed at XFL. I think there is. Yeah. No, it was solid enough. Next week, Saturday, February 15th, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We have the New York Guardians versus the DC Defenders. This could be interesting. I think I'm gonna go Defenders on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna go Defenders on this one. Just because of how strong a defensive performance they put in on against their last match. Later that day, 5 p.m. ET Eastern time, we have the Tampa Bay Vipers versus the Seattle Dragons. I think the Seattle Dragons are going to take this. The Vipers didn't do particularly well last time. Was it 3 they got? Yeah, it was fairly rough there. The next day, Sunday the 16th at 3 p.m. ET, we have the Dallas Renegades, the boys, home at last, taking on the LA Wildcats. I'm going to go Renegades for this one. The Wildcats really bundled it up, and I don't think the Renegades were particularly bad in their match. I just think they kind of just dropped the ball a little bit. I think they'll be able to pick it back up. I think we'll be able to pick that back up, should I say. I don't know. Come on, Renegades. You fucking got this, you bastards. And it's on early enough that I'll almost definitely be able to watch the full thing as well, which makes me happy. And then our final match of week 2 at 6 p.m. Eastern time, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the Houston Roughnecks. I'm going to go Roughnecks for this one. Yes. Simple as that. Roughnecks did well in their match, and those bastard Battlehawks can go fuck themselves. Ring Noctor can go fuck himself. I don't even care, pal. I'm anticipating them to lose this week. And that'll be about it. Yeah, I'd say it will be. It was a good first week, I think. I think you got a lot of good press. I think the presentation was very good. Overall, I really enjoyed watching those first games. And I'm someone who doesn't fucking watch sports, so it's got to be at least a little bit decent, It's that type of thing. And hopefully it can stay decent, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna, I don't want to say anything bad there. Oh, jeez, I'm tired. Thank you for listening, I suppose. I do have that other podcast, the Hall Wrestling Podcast, if you haven't listened to it. It's very good. Who's your XFL team? Tell me, let me know. Because I'm curious to see who has the majority of supporters, especially coming out of week 1. Who's your team of the week? Who's your MVP of the week? Would you like to see any changes? Are you happy with the XFL changes to the NFL? Let me know, because I can't really tell, because, I don't really watch the NFL at all. So, let me know. Excuse me. Oh. Yeah. That does it. We're about done here. I hope you can join me next week. I hope you can watch some matches. And we'll get, together we will get a better grip on the XFL in time for next week. So, I'll fucking see you next time, yeah? Yeah! I've been your host, the international, the immaculate, incredible, audacious, Dallas Renegade supporting boy, Kieran fucking Brennan. This has been Overtime, an XFL podcast. Oi. See you next week. Go Renegades.